Hello there, and welcome to a truly amazing chess game. This game was played today between Daniil Dubov and Sergey Karjakin. Daniil Dubov, very creative player, very imaginative, has excellent opening ideas. He has the white pieces. The black pieces, Sergey Karjakin, the Minister of Defense. He played the World Championship match recently with Magnus Carlsen, and that match went all the way to tie breaks. Extremely difficult to beat, and he is battling with Jan Nepomniachtchi for the Russian Superfinal championship. But he needs to get a result in this game against Daniil Dubov. And just to show you the creative side of Dubov, let's first see the opening moves of this game. E4 E5, Nf3 Nc6, the Italian, bishop to c4. Now in the previous round, Dubov had black, and he played d6 here. A rare move at this level. c3 was played by Fedoshev. And f5, old school Philidor style. d3 and queen f6. And we have a very interesting and completely different game. Now he did lose this game, but it shows that he's always looking for creative ideas, and his games are just so much fun to look at. Today's game was no exception. Karjakin played more in line with what people are doing these days. Bishop to c5, the Italian. c3. We've seen many games like this. I'll mention that here, many people like the so-called Evans Gambit, an aggressive line that Garry Kasparov used, for instance, in some of his World Championship matches. So a line that's not without venom, but also not very popular at the highest levels. So Dubov played c3, knight f6 by Karjakin, and most games these days we're seeing the slow Italian here with d3, where I plays d3, castles, and we see very, very slow play, knight d2, and we saw a lot of these games at the Skilling Open, which, by the way, you can see one game from each round. I'll leave a playlist if you're interested to see more high-level games. But in this game, Dubov went d4. This is also quite popular, one of the main moves, but at the highest level, d3 is by far the more popular, at least at the moment. After e takes d4, the main move is to play e5, which Dubov did not play, and then usually black goes d5 here. And this is completely different theory. Can get pretty sharp, especially if we go for takes. But Dubov had other ideas. He played b4, and this move has almost never been seen at grandmaster level. I found some games with IMs. Fred Berendt from Luxembourg had 2 games, but no grandmaster games. So almost new territory here. So Karjakin most certainly is out of his element already. He played bishop b6 and now e5. One would think that the principal move would be to play here d5, just like in the main line where we don't have this move and this move. But there must be some subtle difference and some idea that Dubov had in mind, and it seems like Karjakin did not want to find out, and he played knight e4. But now Dubov starts with some active operations, bishop d5, forcing the knight to make a decision, and winning some time, because black now has to move the knight again. We take it, and it's our move, and now we can make a developing move with tempo, bishop g5. Aggressive stuff. Karjakin has to play knight d7. f6, simply suicidal. We can probably just take it. Black is never castling, the king is in the center. If this opens up, we'll end up big check. If you can castle, there's a big check on e1. You can't play like this. So knight e7 was played by Karjakin, and now simply castles by Dubov. Finishing development, and now he wants to get all the pieces into the attack. Karjakin pushed the bishop. Bishop kept the pin, of course. Otherwise black might simplify. And now castles by Karjakin. Probably g5 is the critical move, but knowing Dubov, he must have been afraid of preparation here. Now I think there could be something in these complications. Maybe Dubov intended to take, keep the pin. This looks like very good compensation. We keep the pin, the bishop is strong. Black could also play knight takes d5 actually, and we have still some compensation, but I'm not sure if it's enough for the piece. Very interesting, might be some lila 0 or alpha 0 type compensation. But white could also just play a move like bishop d3, claim that we win this pawn here quickly, and we're only down a pawn and way ahead in development, and this king is not castling king set. So g5 is risky, so Karjakin went for castles. Now a simple development move, rook e1, get the rook on a half open file. And it's also prophylactic, very important. Black wants to play d6 and open up for the bishop. The bishop is stuck, which means the rook is stuck, so he's lagging in development. So he wants to play d6, but he can't do it because of the simple move, rook e1, and the knight hangs. So queen e8 was played. This unpinned the knight, so Karjakin was threatening to take the bishop, so Dubov retreated. a5. And now Dubov goes in. Bishop to f6. Nice move. Threatening to open up the king set. Because black really can't take here. He can't defend this. So the bishop is quite nice there. If we can land the queen on g4, it's already almost game over. a4, trying to get the bishop away from this diagonal. But no thanks, says Dubov. I'm keeping the bishop here. It's very active. Knight g6 and queen to d3. Simple threat. We want to take this knight. And if you can do that, it's game over. I recently had a video where Magnus Carlsen had a game with very similar themes. I'll put that in the card as well. But Karjakin, of course, pinned his hopes here on playing the move d5, trying to finally get this bishop into the game. Now Dubov can take en passant and attack the queen, but here Karjakin was counting on bishop e6, blocking the diagonal and hoping to get into the game this way, giving some material back. Still a lot of pawns, so if we trade here, black is probably still up some pawns. But Dubov, once again, had other ideas. He sacrificed his queen. Spectacular move. Queen takes g6. Queen for a knight. How do you like that? We're threatening mate, so black has to do something, and we took the queen. But then we take the bishop, attacking the queen. Queen went to f7. Not allowing white to get a discovered check. We can get a discovered attack, but it's too early. Bishop takes c3 is the move that Dubov played. If we get too greedy, we go here, intending to get the queen. Black will take our bishop, regain the material, and is actually up a bunch of pawns. So this is not what Dubov had in mind, so he played bishop takes c3. So at the moment he has two pieces for the queen. The king gets away, king to h8, and now rook e4. Attacking the queen, protecting the bishop, obviously. Queen f5, and now rook e7. And we see that black has problems with this pawn. We couldn't play rook e7 immediately because of queen takes c4, but now black has to do something about g7, and he has to give up some material. So we take on g8. So now the situation is rook and a knight for the queen. Generally not enough, but now Dubov gets another pawn, so material is technically equal now. And this c7 pawn is very annoying for black. Queen comes into c2. We have to keep the bishop, bishop e5. And we don't care about this pawn. It was hard to defend anyway. c7 pawn is much more important. This is just one check. The king goes to the corner. Even if black had taken with the queen, there's nothing further. There's no light square piece threatening the king. There's no knight. so the king is quite safe. Bishop goes back, and now Dubov makes luft to free this rook completely. King h7, and now the rook comes over. King h2. Dubov is just taking his time here. There's no rush. G5, and now the knight comes in. Knight to d4. Queen c4 and knight to f5, targeting the g7 pawn. Queen takes b4. Rook c1, threatening to queen the pawn. But king g6. Now if you queen, black will take it with his rook and then take on f5, getting some material back. So rook takes d7 first is played. He takes, and now we take on g8. And now we're threatening to queen. The material is simply overwhelming at this stage. Black has to give the bishop, but now white has two rooks and the bishop for the queen. Completely safe king. Meanwhile, black's king is roaming the center of the board, and in fact, after a few more moves, rook c5 check, king e4 and rook d8, Karjakin had to resign. His king is stuck here. Almost nowhere. No matter what you do, rook e5 is the next move, and you're toast. Let's see. We could take, but just to okay, let's just take to demonstrate rook e5. And where do you go? You can't go to the d file. You have to go here. I could win your queen. I could also just play a move like this, and this actually looks like checkmate to me. So after rook d8, Karjakin resigned. Very fascinating game. Spectacular chess by Dubov, and spoiling Karjakin's chances of his first Russian Superfinal championship. So the Nepomniachtchi won the 2020 Russian Superfinal, but the people's champion for sure is Daniil Dubov once again. Fantastic stuff. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, why not leave a like and support the old man. And I hope to see you soon in another chess video. Thank you. Bye bye.